our channel. Sorry, Sadie got me all messed up. She's like, when we saw it. Anyway, we're in a different set today.
You're also distracted.
I'm going to add their stuff I'm sharing about our stuff to our story. 1 second. Sadie, talk. Say hello.
I'm talking. Hello, everyone. We are in Colorado now. You can see this new, backdrop area. My dad is letting us film this live stream in his office space that they just remodeled, which looks really cool. So, yeah, that'll probably be this week and next week's background, and then we'll go back to the normal, portrait on the wall behind us in Florida, because I think we'll be in Florida. We might not be able to we'll figure it out. Anyways, yeah, so we're here. We flew in yesterday.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 people watching. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going? I'm just sharing on our story. I didn't even tag the right things. Whatever. It's fine. It's good. Hello. Welcome back.
So today we are going to do our part 2 of Joshua. How many chapters in Joshua are there?
It looks like there are 24.
Okay,
and
so
we read
did
1 through 7. So we have a
so
little
we can
bit
get to 14. Yeah. Okay.
And I think we just finished reading about Achan's sin and how Israel stoned him, and after they stoned the rest, they burned them. For Achan, they heaped up a large pile of rocks, which remains to this day. Then the Lord turned him from his fierce anger, therefore, that because he's the guy who coveted some stuff that he shouldn't have.
Well, it was the
Lord's.
Yeah, it was basically
after they burnt the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Right?
It was the tithe, yeah. Anyways,
so
we're going to continue reading Joshua 8 today. I can't remember what we're going to read, so I'm excited to find out.
So make sure to like and subscribe, comment when your questions, we'll be answering them, and we're going to be reading Joshua 8 from here. So, and it says AI destroyed. I destroyed.
I don't know. Just choose a.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do this thing. Also, she sounds tired because we got in really late last night.
It's also
flight. So move ourselves out. Well, it's good.
I'm getting used to the Colorado time again.
It says, then the Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Take the whole army with you and go up and attack Ai, for I have delivered into your hands the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. You shall do to Ai and its king as you did to Jericho and its king, except that you may carry off their plunder and livestock for yourselves. Set an ambush behind the city. So Joshua and the whole army moved out to attack Ai. He chose, I'm doing it just to annoy you, Sadie, I'm sorry. He chose 30,000 of his best fighting men and sent them out at night with these orders. Listen carefully. You are to set an ambush behind the city. Don't go very far from it. All of you be on the alert. I and all those with me will advance on the city, and when the men come out against us, as they did before, we will flee from them. They will pursue us until we have lured them away from the city, for they will say, they are running away from us as they did before. So when we flee from them, you are to rise up from ambush and take the city. The Lord your God will give it into your hand. When you have taken the city, set it on fire. Do what the Lord has commanded. See to it, you have my orders. Then Joshua sent them off, and they went to the place of ambush and lay in wait between Bethel and Ai, to the west of Ai. But Joshua spent that night with the people. Early the next morning, Joshua mustered his army, and he and the leaders of Israel marched before them to Ai. The entire force that was with him marched up and approached the city and arrived in front of it. They set up camp north of Ai, with the valley between them and the city. Joshua had taken about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, to the west of the city. So the soldiers took up their positions, with the main camp to the north of the city and the ambush to the west of it. That night Joshua went into the valley. When the kings of Ai saw this, he and all the men of the city hurried out early in the morning to meet Israel in battle at a certain place overlooking the Arabah. Arabah.
And it's I.
But he did not know that an ambush had been set against him behind the city. Joshua and all Israel let themselves be driven back before them, and they fled toward the wilderness. All the men of Ai were called to pursue them, and they pursued Joshua and were lured away from the city. Not a man remained in Ai or Bethel who did not go after Israel. They left the city open and went in pursuit of Israel.
Dang.
Then the Lord said to Joshua, hold out toward Ai the javelin that is in your hand, for into your hand I will deliver the city. So Joshua held out toward the city the javelin that was in his hand. As soon as he did this, the men in the ambush rose quickly from their position and rushed forward. They entered the city and captured it and quickly set it on fire. The men of Ai looked back and saw the smoke of the city rising up into the sky, but they had no chance to escape in any direction. The Israelites who had been fleeing toward the wilderness had turned back against their pursuers. For when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city and that smoke was going up from it, they turned around and attacked the men of Ai. Those in the ambush also came out of the city against them, so that they were caught in the middle, with Israelites on both sides. Israel cut them down, leaving them neither survivors nor fugitives. But they took the king of Ai alive and brought him to Joshua. When Israel had finished killing all the men of Ai in the fields and in the wilderness, where they had chased them, and when every one of them had been put to the sword, all the Israelites returned to Ai and killed those who were in it. 12,000 men and women fell that day, all the people of Ai. For Joshua did not draw back the hand that held out his javelin until he had destroyed all who lived in Ai. But Israel did carry off for themselves the livestock and plunder of the city, as the Lord had instructed Joshua. So Joshua burned Ai and made it a permanent heap of ruins, a desolate place to this day. He impaled the body of the king of Ai on a pole and left it there until evening. At sunset, Joshua ordered them to take the body from the pole and throw it down at the entrance of the city gate, and they raised a large pile of rocks over it, which remains to this day. Then Joshua built on Mount Ebal an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel. As Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the Israelites, he built it according to what is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of uncut stones, on which no iron tool had been used. On it they offered to the Lord burnt offerings and sacrificed fellowship offerings. There, in the presence of the Israelites, Joshua wrote on stones a copy of the law of Moses. All the Israelites, with their elders, officials, and judges, were standing on both sides of the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, facing the Levitical priests who carried it. Both the foreigners living among them and the native-born were there. Half of the people stood in front of Mount Gerizim, and half of them in front of Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had formerly commanded when he gave instructions to bless the people of Israel. Afterward, Joshua read all the words of the law, the blessings and the curses, just as it is written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moses had commanded that Joshua did not read to the whole assembly of Israel, including the women and children and the foreigners who lived among them. Dang. They just went in and took it. That's crazy. That's what you do when God tells you to do it. Yeah.
Joshua 9.
Do it, Mercedes.
The Gibeonite deception. Now when all the kings west of the Jordan heard about these things, the kings in the hill country, in the western foothills, and all along the entire coast of the Mediterranean Sea as far as Lebanon, the king of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, they came together to wage war against Joshua and Israel. However, when the people of Gibeon heard that Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to a ruse. They sent as a delegation whose donkeys were loaded with worn-out sacks and old wineskins, cracked and mended. They put worn and patched sandals on their feet and wore old clothes. All the bread of their food supply was dry and moldy. When they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the Israelites, "We have come from a distant country. Make a treaty with us." The Israelites said to the Hivites, "But perhaps you live near us, so how can we make a treaty with you?" "We are your servants," they said to Joshua. But Joshua asked, "Who are you and where do you come from?" They answered, "Your servants have come from a very distant country because of the fame of the Lord your God. For we have heard reports of him, all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, Sihon king of Heshbon and Og king of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth. And our elders and all those living in our country said to us, 'Take provisions for your journey, go and meet them, and say to them, "We are your servants, make a treaty with us." This bread of ours was warm when we packed it at home on the day we left to come to you. But now, see how dry and moldy it is. And these wineskins that we filled were new, but see how cracked they are. And our clothes and sandals are worn out by the very long journey." The Israelites sampled their provisions, but did not inquire of the Lord. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. 3 days after they made the treaty with the Gibeonites, The Israelites heard that they were neighbors living near them. So the Israelites set out, and on the third day came to their cities, Gibeon, Kephar, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack them, because the leaders of the assembly had sworn an oath to them by the Lord, the God of Israel. The whole assembly grumbled against the leaders, but all the leaders answered, "We have given them our oath by the Lord, the God of Israel, and we cannot touch them now. This is what we will do to them. We will let them live, so that God's wrath will not fall on us for breaking the oath we swore to them." They continued, "Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water carriers in the service of the whole assembly." So the leaders promised to let them.
To them was kept.
Then Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said, "Why did you deceive us by saying, 'We live a long way from you,' while actually you live near us? You are now under a curse. You will never be released from service as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of my God." They answered Joshua, "Your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and to wipe out all of its inhabitants from before you. So we feared for our lives because of you, and that is why we did this. We are now in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you." So Joshua saved them from the Israelites, and they did not kill them. That day he made the Gibeonites woodcutters and water carriers for the assembly, to provide for the needs of the altar of the Lord at the place the Lord would choose. And that is what they are to this day.
Wow. That's pretty cool. We're just going to keep reading. Y'all can just, ask questions if you
Well,
have.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm working on opening and making it awake again. So sorry if I'm a little...
It's funny, last
laggy.
week was also that. We were both dying from all the craziness we did the day
dying,
before.
But yeah, so I think also the Old Testament, when it comes to recounting the history of how the Israelites got to being in the Promised Land, I don't right now in this minute feel like there's anything I can add to that.
Yeah,
because there wasn't any.
Yeah.
It's just cool to read the history of it.
Yeah, so let's continue. It says the sun stands still.
And this
Now-
is chapter what?
This is number
This is Joshua. What?
Joshua 10.
Okay, I need to make sure we're saying
Okay, Joshua 10. It says, now Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, and doing to it
that. To I.
and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the people of Gibeon had made a treaty of peace with Israel and had become their allies. He and his people were very much alarmed at this because Gibeon was an important city, like one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and all its men were good fighters. So Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, appealed to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Jophiah, king of Lachish, and Debir, king of Eglon. Come up and help me attack Gibeon, he said, because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces. They moved up with all their troops and took up positions against Gibeon and attacked it. The Gibeonites then sent word to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, do not abandon your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite kings from the hill country have joined forces against us. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his entire army, including all the best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid of them. I have given them into your hand. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. After an all-night march from Gilgal, Joshua took them by surprise. The Lord threw them into confusion before Israel, so Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely at Gibeon. Israel pursued them along the roads going up to Beth-Horon and cut them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As they fled before Israel on the road down from Beth-Horon to Azekah, the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them, and more of them died from the hail than were killed by the sword of the Israelites. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. The sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies, as it is written in the book of Jashar, where nation triumphed over. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp at
That
Gilgal.
is so cool.
That is cool. What the heck? He just makes it stop.
You just
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, just I'll keep the light on
how long did it say?
for a delayed
For a
going
full
down
day.
about a full day.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, imagine the people on the other side being like, "Why is it still dark?"
Oh yeah, that would be weird. All right, it says, now the 5 kings had fled and hidden in the cave of Makkedah. When Joshua was told that the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave at Makkedah, he said, roll large rocks up to the fountain. Are we even
Up
talking?
to the mouth.
Are we even talking? I have to. Sorry.
What? What do you mean?
Like, can you even hear us? Because I'm not seeing it showing up on our.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can hear
Okay, they
us.
can hear us. Okay. Oh,
Okay, I'll continue
I
reading
just had a
since it was a
thing.
distraction.
No, you're good.
Now the 5 kings had fled and hidden in the cave at Makkedah.
He said, roll large rocks up to the mouth of the cave and post some men there to guard it.
Where?
We're here.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. Okay.
When Joshua was told that the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave of Makkedah, he said, roll large rocks up to the mouth of the cave and
Sorry.
post some men there to guard it. I already knew where we were. Don't
I'm
worry.
sorry, I was just lost.
But don't stop, pursue your enemies. Attack them from the rear and don't let them reach their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand. So Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely, but a few survivors managed to reach their fortified cities. The whole army then returned safely to Joshua in the camp in Makkedah, and no one uttered a word against the Israelites. Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me. So they brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had brought these kings to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the army commanders who had come with him, come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings. So they came forward and placed their feet on their necks. Joshua said to them, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, be strong and courageous. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies you are going to fight. Then Joshua put the kings to death and exposed their bodies on 5 poles, and they were left hanging on the poles until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave the order, and they took them down from the poles and threw them into the cave where they had been hiding. At the mouth of the cave, they placed large rocks, which are there to this day. That day, Joshua took Makkedah. He put the city and its king to the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it. He left no survivors, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord also gave that city and its king into Israel's hand. The city and everyone in it Joshua put to the sword. He left no survivors there, and he did to its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all of Israel with him moved on from Libnah to Lachish. He took up positions against it and attacked it. The Lord gave Lachish into Israel's hand, and Joshua took it on the 2nd day. The city and everyone in it he put to the sword, just as he had done to Libnah. Meanwhile, Hiram, king of Gezer, had come up to help Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his army until no survivors were left. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Lachish to Eglon. They took up positions against it and attacked it. They captured it that same day and put it to the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They took the city and put it to the sword together with its king, its villages, and everyone in it. They left no survivors, just as at Eglon. They totally destroyed it and everyone in it. Then Joshua and all Israel with him turned around and attacked Debir. They took the city, its king, and its villages, and put them to the sword. Everyone in it they totally destroyed. They left no survivors. They did to Debir and its king as they had done to Libnah and its king, and to Hebron. So Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes, together with all their kings. He left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua subdued them from Kadeshah to Barnea to Gaza, and the whole region of Goshen to Gibeon. All these kings and their lands Joshua conquered in one campaign, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp at Gilgal. Dang, he just goes in and takes everybody out. That's crazy.
Well, that's because they're just following through with what the Lord is telling them. So it's just basically a reflection of like them finally actually following through with what the Lord said.
Yeah.
So
pretty cool. We have nothing else to add, you guys. We're just gonna read.
Well,
what?
Yeah.
What?
No, it's just we're eating. It's good.
Yes.
adding is not as important. But we definitely should figure out specific Bible studies about these topics, because I think reading the books in total together is good, but I think we should also start to do what we originally started with, was specific topics.
Mix them up.
Okay, Joshua 11, Northern Kings defeated. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard of this, he sent word to Jobab, king of Medan, to the kings of Shimron and Akshaph, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains, in the Arabah south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, in Naphoth, Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, to the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites in the hill country, and to the Hittites below Hermon in the region of Mizpah. They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camp together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand all of them slain over to Israel. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them. And the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them and pursued them all the way to the greater Sidon, to Misrephoth Maim, into the valley of Mizpah on the east, until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At that time Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put its king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of all these kingdoms. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed, and he burned Hazor itself. Joshua took all these royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their mounds except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites carried off for themselves all the plunder and livestock of these cities, but all the people they put to the sword until they completely destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed. As the Lord commanded his servant Moses, so Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took this entire land, the hill country, all the Negev, and the whole region of Goshen, the western foothills, the Arab, and the mountains of Israel with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir, to Balgad in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and put them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time, except for the Hittites living in Gibeon. Not one city made a treaty of peace with Israelites, who took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them in their towns. No Anakites were left in Israel territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land, just as the Lord had directed Moses, and he gave it as an inheritance to Israel, according to their tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war.
Wow, that's crazy. I love actually learning about this, because there's a lot more to it than just they walked into the land. I don't think I'd ever been taught that.
Oh yeah? Right.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's like you had to fight for it. It wasn't just an open piece of land. They had to go through and actually do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
they had to step into fulfilling what God had promised for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it wasn't just going to be oh, you're here. Okay, I guess
Here
I'll
you go.
leave everything behind.
Here it is.
All right, Joshua 12.
List of defeated kings. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon, including all the eastern side of the Arabah. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Arar on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, from the middle of the gorge to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. This included half of Gilead. He also ruled over the eastern Arabah from the Sea of Galilee to the Sea of Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, to Beth Jeshimon, and then southward below the slopes of Pisgah. and the territory of Og king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaites who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He ruled over Mount Haman, Selekah, all of Bashan to the border of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and half of Gilead to the border of Shihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh to be their possession.
Slow down a little.
Here is the list of the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their tribal divisions. The lands included the hill country, the western foothills, the Arabah, the mountain slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev. These were the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. These were the kings: the king of Jericho, the king of Ai, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of what?
I guess there's just one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna say one?
One. They all say one so far.
I know.
The king of Eglon, the king of Gezer, the king of Dibir, the king of Geder, the king of Homah, the king of Arad, the king of Nibnah, the king of Adullam, the king of Medekah, the king of Bethel, the king of Tapua, the king of Hefer, the king of Ephek, the king of Lasharon, the king of Edon, the king of Hazor, the king of Shemer and Peron, the king of Kishpeh, the king of Tanakh, the king of Mediga, Megiddo, the king of Kadesh, the king of Jokneam and Carmel, the king of Dor, the king of Yom and Gilgal, the king of Tirzah. 31 kings in all. That was my whole chapter to read for you guys.
I'll get the next
We'll do one more. Wait.
Dude.
We'll do
if
one
we
more.
read 2 more, then it'll be 14, then we'll have done 7.
Okay.
I know you're tired, but I can read both of them.
Let's do it. No. It's fine. Go ahead.
Did you want to zoom back in? Because you zoomed out somehow.
Just start reading. I'll take care of it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Joshua 13. Land still to be taken. When Joshua had grown old, the Lord said to him, "You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains. All of the regions of the Philistines and Geshurites, from Sihor River to the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, all of it counted as Canaanite, though held by the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. The territory of the Evites on the south, all the land of the Canaanites from Arah, of the Sidons as far as Aphek and the border of Amorites, the area of Bablos and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo-Hamath. As for all the inhabitants of the mountain regions, from Lebanon to Mispath-Maim, that is, all the Sidonians, thank you. I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh. Division of the land east of the Jordan. The other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan, as he, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and included the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled as Heshbon out to the border of the Ammonites. It included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur and Makkah, all the mountain Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Zelekah. That is, the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He was the last of the Rephaites. Moses had defeated them and taken over their land, but the Israelites did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben according to its clans. The territory of Aroer on the rim of Arnon Gorge, and from the town of the middle of the gorge and the whole plateau past Medab to Heshbon and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth, Baal, Beth Baal-Maon, Jaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiratham, Sibur, Zaretha,
Shahar,
on the hill of the valley,
Beth Peor,
Bezport, the
slopes
slopes
of
of
Pisgah,
Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, all the towns on the plateau in the entire realm of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and the Midianite chiefs, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites, according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad, according to its clan. The territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half the Ammonite country, as far as Aroer, near Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramoth Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahim to the territory of Debir, and in the valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Sukkoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the realm of Sihon, king of Heshbon, the east side of the Jordan, the territory up to the end of the Sea of Galilee. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Gadites, according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the family of the descendants of Manasseh, according to its clans. The territory extending from Mahon, including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair in Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead and Ashtoreth and Urdi, the royal cities of Og and Bashan. This was for the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir according to their clans. This is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance as he promised them.
Wow.
All right, one more.
Interesting. One more time.
This is a lot like Numbers and Deuteronomy and stuff like that.
Because it's like describing how things were separated, how things were done, how things were put together, and it's very intentional.
Leviticus, I'm pretty sure, has a lot of like details on stuff like this. So, are you wanting to read it or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I got it. Let's do it. Division of the land west of the Jordan. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar, the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel allotted to them. Their inheritances were assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Moses had granted the 2.5 tribes their inheritance east of the Jordan, but had not granted the Levites an inheritance among the rest. For Joseph's descendants had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of the land, but only towns to live in, with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites divided the land just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Allotment for Caleb. Now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea about you and me? I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. And I brought him back a report according to my convictions. But my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. Now then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years since the time he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness. So here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But the Lord helping me, I will drive them out, just as he said." Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, who was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war. Ta-da! So it's cool that God followed through with that, and Joshua was able to be the conduit of which that happened.
Yeah, so we
Pretty
have
cool.
how many chapters?
So there's 24 total,
24,
so we have
15.
10 left.
Yeah, not bad. So
Not bad.
I was gonna read a little bit of what we're gonna expect next time.
Oh, well, too late. I'm sorry. So next time we'll be reading more along this line and seeing how I think Joshua continues to split up the land and the inheritances.
Well, so the book of Joshua is about Joshua and his life and what he was able to do with the Lord. And so I'm pretty sure the ending of Joshua is him passing away and passing on the priesthood, because that's ultimately what he is he's a prophet and priest, to someone else. Sorry, I talk with my hand. I forget we have the camera. So it'll be interesting to see all the details, because I forgot the story of God holding the sun in the sky for a day was in there. So I thought that was really cool.
So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We kind of are a little zoning today. I'm so sorry. We're not always like this, but today's a special case. So we do have a group chat for in-person Bible studies, so make sure to check that out at kingdomsiblings.com, kingdom.siblings on Instagram. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.